Every man knows this moment. You say something simple and she goes cold. Her replies thin out, her tone turns sharp. Her eyes say, "Prove yourself." Your chest tightens, your mind races, and you start rehearsing speeches you hope will fix it. That is the trap. Most men talk more when pressure rises. More texts, more explanations, more apologies, more chasing. The problem is that every extra word bleeds power. It tells her you fear losing her more than you value your own center. Female psychology reads that fear quickly. Tests escalate, respect drops, desire fades. Here is the shift. There are a few sentences a man can use that stop the spin, reclaim the frame, and change the way she feels you. They are not insults. They are clean boundaries delivered with calm. They say, "I am steady, I am scarce, and I am not afraid to walk away if this no longer honors us both." When you learn them and pair them with Stoic control, everything changes. Tension drops. Curiosity rises. Attraction breathes again. In this video, you will hear the exact phrases, why they work, and how to deliver them with timing, tone, and posture, so they land as masculine clarity, not petty drama. If you are new here, subscribe now so you do not miss tomorrow's lesson. By the end, you will have a pocket playbook you can use in any test without raising your voice or chasing. Ready for the shift? Let's get into it. Number 1. You're not different, you're predictable. One of the hardest truths to accept as a man is that most of the games women play are not unique. They may come dressed in new words, new faces, or new situations, but at the core they are patterns you've seen before. When you look at them through calm eyes, you realize something powerful. She isn't different, she's predictable, and that truth is both unsettling to her and freeing for you. Take Mark, a 51-year-old financial consultant from New York. He had been dating Stephanie, 49, for almost 6 months. Things started off exciting, full of passion and energy, but soon Stephanie began to test him. She teased him about other men, delayed her replies on purpose, and hinted that she might not be fully invested. Mark's first reaction was to treat her like an exception, as if her tests were special puzzles he had to solve to keep her interested. The more he tried to prove himself, the more she pulled away. He forgot a simple fact. These are the same patterns men everywhere have faced. Now, imagine if Mark had looked at the situation differently. Instead of thinking, "She's special, I need to win her approval," he could have thought, "I've seen this before. It's predictable." By removing the illusion of uniqueness, Mark would have seen through the test. Instead of explaining himself or begging for reassurance, he could calmly say, "You're not different, you're predictable." Delivered with composure, those words land like a shock. Why? Because they strip away the fantasy she is building that her behavior is powerful and unique. Women fear this statement because it takes away control. When you say it, you are not insulting her. You are simply refusing to play the game. Female psychology thrives on novelty, on the belief that her tests are unlike anything you've seen before. When you calmly expose the pattern, you break the spell. You show her that you are not dazzled, not shaken, and not desperate to prove your worth. Here's where Stoicism comes in. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." By applying this wisdom, you recognize that her tests are not new storms but familiar weather. You cannot control her actions, but you can control your reaction. By staying composed, you communicate strength. By pointing out the predictability, you expose the illusion. And let's be honest, this approach hits deeper than clever words. It reframes the entire dynamic. You stop being the man dancing for approval, and you become the man who calmly sees through the performance. And that calm presence is what she respects, even if she fights against it in the moment. So the next time a woman tries to make you feel like her tests are something rare and special, remember this: she's not different. She's predictable. And by calmly pointing that out, you shift the balance of power without raising your voice or chasing. If you understand this, write in the comments, "I see patterns." It's a declaration that you will no longer treat predictable games as extraordinary battles. And keep watching, because once you strip away the illusion of uniqueness, the next move is about how you handle her reaction to being exposed. That's where the real shift begins. Number 2. Take your time, the door's still open. When a woman pulls away, the expectation is simple: you will panic. She expects you to beg, to demand answers, to collapse into a storm of emotion. That is why the calm response, "Take your time, the door's still open," is so unsettling. It carries a weight far heavier than pleading ever could. These words are not passive, they are not careless. They are strength disguised as patience. What they say beneath the surface is this: I am not chasing you. I am not afraid of losing you. I am not trying to hold you where you don't want to be. You are free to go, and I will be fine either way. That message cuts deeper than any argument because it removes the power of fear. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This line is the essence of the phrase. Her distance only hurts if you decide to interpret it as loss. But when you choose to see it through Stoic clarity, you revoke the power of that pain. You stay steady, you remain composed. Female psychology is wired to test, sometimes consciously, sometimes without thought. Pulling away, acting cold, creating uncertainty. These are tests to see if you will bend. When you respond with anger or desperation, you fail the test. When you calmly say, "Take your time, the door's still open," you pass. You show her you are not threatened. You are a man who will not crumble just because she created space. And here's what makes it powerful. The moment you release your grip, the dynamic changes. By removing pressure, you place her in a position she doesn't expect. She anticipated panic, but instead she meets calm certainty. That calmness creates contrast, and contrast is what sparks curiosity. Instead of thinking, "He needs me," she begins to wonder, "Why isn't he reacting like everyone else?" This is not about manipulation. It's not about pretending to be indifferent when you're not. It's about living a principle that you are whole on your own, that her presence is welcome, but not necessary for your peace. When you truly embody that mindset, your words carry a power that can't be faked. Think of the alternative. A man who says, "Don't leave me, I need you. Tell me what's wrong." That man is trapped in fear, trapped in her frame. His words come from weakness, and weakness repels. But the man who calmly opens the door and allows her the freedom to walk through it communicates something very different: security. And security is rare. Epictetus taught freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. You cannot control her actions. You cannot control whether she stays or goes. But you can control how you carry yourself when she tests you. By offering her freedom, you remind yourself and her that your strength is not tied to her choices. So remember this: when she pulls away, the strongest move is not to chase, it's to stand still and open the door. Take your time, the door's still open. Those words echo with power because they carry no fear. If you're ready to embody that strength, write in the comments, "I stay free." It's a reminder that your peace is not up for negotiation. And keep watching, because once you understand how to give freedom without fear, the next step is about how to turn her tests completely upside down in ways she never saw coming. Number 3. You're right, I'm not chasing. One of the sharpest tools you can use when a woman tests you is agreement. Not angry agreement, not sarcastic agreement, calm agreement. When she pushes expecting resistance, you give none. Instead, you disarm her completely with a simple line: "You're right, I'm not chasing." Let me show you why this works. Most women expect men to fight for approval. When she accuses you of being distant, when she hints that you're not putting in enough effort, Her psychology is wired to see if you will scramble to prove her wrong. That's the trap. The moment you defend yourself, you've already lost. Now consider Robert, a 55-year-old project manager from Dallas. He was dating Christina, 52, who often threw little challenges at him. She'd say things like, "You don't seem as interested as before," or "I feel like I have to pull your attention back." In the past, Robert would react with long explanations, texts full of reassurances, and even guilt-driven apologies. And every time Christina's respect for him slipped a little more, she knew she could trigger him. She knew he would chase. One evening, though, Robert did something different. Christina looked at him and said, "You're not even trying anymore." Instead of defending himself, he looked her calmly in the eye and replied, "You're right, I'm not chasing." The room went silent. For the first time, she didn't know what to say. That calm statement pulled the ground out from under her. Here's why. Female psychology thrives on resistance. A test is only powerful if you fight against it. By calmly agreeing, you take the air out of the balloon. There's nothing left to push against. Instead of proving her point, she's left questioning why her words didn't rattle you. And that quiet strength is magnetic. The Stoic Epictetus once taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By choosing calm agreement, you refuse to be reactive. You're not fighting her frame, you're not trying to win an argument. You're showing mastery of yourself. That mastery is what makes the words land so hard. Notice the difference. If you say, "That's not true, I'm doing everything I can," you've already submitted to her frame. But if you calmly say, "You're right, I'm not chasing you," send a completely different message. You're not afraid of her judgment. You're not begging for validation. You're reminding both her and yourself that your value isn't tied to chasing anyone. Let's look at another story. Daniel, a 52-year-old mechanic from Ohio, was seeing Laura, 50. She liked to pull back suddenly, then accuse him of not caring enough. Daniel used to overcompensate by showering her with attention. But one day when Laura said, "You don't chase me anymore," he simply replied, "You're right, I'm not chasing." His calm tone stopped her in her tracks. Instead of pushing further, she leaned in. Why? Because strength draws respect, and respect fuels attraction. This line works not because it's clever, but because it's true. You really aren't chasing. You're not pretending to be indifferent. You're choosing to stay grounded in your own worth. And that choice is what makes you stand out from every other man who scrambles for approval. So the next time a woman accuses you of pulling back, resist the urge to explain yourself. Don't defend. Don't chase. Look her in the eye and say, "You're right, I'm not chasing." Then stay calm. That silence, that strength, will do more for you than 100 explanations ever could. If you're ready to live this, write in the comments, "I don't chase." It's a reminder that your energy is too valuable to waste on begging. And stay with me, because once you learn to agree calmly, instead of defending, there's an even bolder way to flip her expectations upside down. That's where the real shift happens. Number 4, I'll help you pack if you're leaving. Few lines carry more power than this one. When a woman threatens to walk away, whether directly or indirectly, most men panic. They argue. They plead. They beg for one more chance. That desperation is exactly what she expects. It confirms her belief that she holds the power, that her presence is your oxygen. But when you calmly look at her and say, "I'll help you pack if you're leaving," the entire frame collapses. This line is not anger, it's not sarcasm, it's composure. Delivered with calm eyes and steady tone, it communicates a single truth. I am not afraid to lose you, and that is what makes it so terrifying for her to hear. Because deep down, every woman fears being with a man who is willing to walk away if respect is gone. The Stoics understood this principle well. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." You cannot control if she decides to leave. You cannot control her mood swings or her shifting emotions. But you can control how you respond. By calmly offering to help her pack, you embody freedom. You detach from fear, and you show her that your identity does not live in her hands. Female psychology is wired for tests. Sometimes they are subtle, sometimes they are bold. A threat to leave is one of the boldest. She wants to see if you'll panic. She wants to see if you'll fight for her approval. When you calmly agree, you disarm the test. You remove the weapon from her hands. This is not about cruelty. You're not trying to hurt her. You're not playing games. You're simply showing that you refuse to be held hostage by fear. And that refusal is rare. It's magnetic because it signals strength and independence. Women may not admit it, but they respect a man who cannot be controlled by the threat of abandonment. Think about what this does to the dynamic. Instead of chasing, you create space. Instead of collapsing, you hold steady. Instead of giving her more power, you reclaim your own. Suddenly, she is the one questioning her actions. She expected desperation but found composure. That reversal shakes her more than any argument could. The man who says, "Don't go, I need you," loses respect. The man who says, "I'll help you pack if you're leaving," earns it, because he shows that his peace, his value, and his life are not dependent on any one woman. That is the essence of masculine strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." When you use this line, you're living that truth. You're not controlling her. You're not trying to stop her. You're controlling yourself. And that self-control is what she will feel more than anything else. So remember this when she threatens to walk away. Meet her words with calm acceptance. Say it once. Say it steady. "I'll help you pack if you're leaving." Nothing more, nothing less. And then watch how the energy shifts. If this resonates with you, write in the comments, "I fear nothing." It's your reminder that no one can take away your self-respect but you. And if you're ready to go deeper, this is the perfect time to join as a channel member. Inside, you'll get access to exclusive lessons, advanced strategies, and Stoic insights that I don't share publicly. Membership isn't about supporting me, it's about investing in yourself, becoming the rare man who commands respect in silence. Stay with me, because once you understand the power of indifference to loss, the next step will show you how to flip her coldness back on itself. And that's where the real transformation begins. Number 5. Cold I can be colder. When a woman goes cold, most men respond with warmth. They chase harder text, more, pour out reassurance. They believe that if they melt her ice with kindness, she'll return the affection. But here's the paradox. The more warmth you pour in while she's testing you, the colder she becomes. That's why the calm, unshaken attitude of "cold I can be colder" is so powerful. Let's bring this into real life. Tom, a 54-year-old engineer from Denver, had been seeing Rachel, 52. At first, things felt effortless. But after a few months, Rachel started pulling back. She stopped answering texts for hours. She cancelled dinners at the last minute. And when they were together, her tone felt distant. Tom panicked. He doubled his efforts: flowers, long calls, constant messages. But the more he tried, the colder Rachel became. Finally, after talking with a friend, Tom flipped the script. Instead of chasing, he stopped reacting to her coldness. If Rachel took hours to reply, Tom took even longer. If she cancelled plans, he calmly made other ones for himself. When she showed up distant, he didn't force conversation. He matched her energy with calm stillness. Slowly, Rachel began to notice the shift. The game stopped working. She expected weakness, but met strength. Here's why this works. Coldness is a test. It's her way of asking, "Will you collapse if I withdraw?" Most men fail because they rush to fill the silence. But when you respond with equal or greater calm, you show that her withdrawal doesn't control you. You prove that your emotional state is not tied to her mood. That truth unsettles her in the best way because it makes her respect you again. This doesn't mean being cruel. It doesn't mean giving the silent treatment out of anger. It means staying centered, refusing to overinvest when she underinvests. It's emotional balance, not punishment. Think of it this way. If she turns down the thermostat to see how you react, most men scramble to build a fire. You instead calmly put on a jacket and carry on. She expected you to beg for warmth, but instead you showed that you don't need her temperature to stay comfortable. That's what makes the line cold. I can be colder so effective. It reflects calm resilience, not spite. Now look at another example. James, a 57-year-old contractor in Arizona, was dating Laura, 53. Laura had a habit of withdrawing whenever she felt unsure. In the past, James would push harder trying to talk it out. But one day when Laura went cold for a week, James simply carried on with his life. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. He didn't explain. And when Laura finally reached out, it was with curiosity. She asked why he hadn't tried to pull her back. James just replied calmly, "I don't chase cold." That response said everything. Laura knew she couldn't manipulate him with silence anymore. This approach is rooted in Stoic wisdom. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free." Bravery here means not fearing her withdrawal, not bending to her coldness. By meeting her tests with calm strength, you remain free, and that freedom is exactly what draws her back. So the next time she turns cold, don't panic, don't chase, stay calm. Match her silence with your own composure. And if you need to let the thought echo in your mind, "Cold, I can be colder." If this makes sense to you, write in the comments, "I stay colder." It's a reminder that you won't break under emotional pressure. And stay tuned, because once you master how to handle her coldness, the next step is about how to shift from stillness into a presence that commands respect without a single word. That's when things get truly interesting. Number 6. Our connection feels average, not magnetic. Few words hit harder than telling a woman the truth about how you actually feel. Not flattery, not excuses, but calm honesty. And one of the most powerful lines you can use is, "Our connection feels average, not magnetic." Why does this work? Because women thrive on the belief that they're unforgettable, that their presence is electric, that they're giving you something you can't find anywhere else. But when you calmly express that the spark isn't as strong as it should be, it shakes her. It forces her to confront something she didn't expect. You are evaluating her, not the other way around. This isn't about being cruel. You're not insulting her. You're not saying she's worthless. You're simply telling the truth. The connection doesn't feel magnetic, and truth delivered with composure has more impact than any argument. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." These words remind us that honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, carries real power. By calmly speaking the truth about how you feel, you reclaim the frame. Instead of being the man desperate for her validation, you become the man who sets the standard. Female psychology is wired to assume that men will always chase, always flatter, always do anything to keep her attention. When you calmly state that her presence doesn't feel magnetic, you interrupt that assumption. You shift the power dynamic in an instant. She expects you to cling. Instead, you demonstrate that you can walk away if the connection isn't strong enough. That strength is rare, and rarity is what draws her back. Think about how this plays out. Most men, when they sense distance, respond by trying harder, more compliments, more reassurance, more effort. But by doing so, they lower their own value. They communicate that they're lucky just to be there. The line, "Our connection feels average, not magnetic," flips the script. It places you in the position of evaluator. It tells her without anger that you expect more than mediocrity, and that expectation commands respect. This is not manipulation. It's not a tactic to scare her. It's a reflection of reality. If you don't feel deeply drawn to her, pretending otherwise only weakens you. But when you express the truth calmly, you reveal strength. You show that you're not afraid of loss, because you value authenticity more than comfort. Epictetus taught, "If you can stand your ground, stand firm." This is a powerful line. It reminds us that honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, carries real power. By calmly speaking the truth about how you feel, you reclaim the frame. Instead of being the man desperate for her validation, you become the man who sets the standard. Female psychology is wired to assume that men will always chase, always flatter, always do anything to keep her attention. When you calmly express that the spark isn't as strong as it should be, it forces her to confront something she didn't expect. You value authenticity more than comfort. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, don't fear discomfort. Speaking the truth may feel risky. It may even make her upset in the moment. But over time, it's that honesty that sets you apart. It shows her that you are not another man desperate to please. You are a man who demands depth, who refuses to settle for average. Here's the irony: by telling her the connection feels average, you often ignite the very spark you thought was missing. Why? Because the statement challenges her. It forces her to invest, to step up, to prove that the connection can be magnetic. That challenge reignites attraction in ways that flattery never could. So remember this: never be afraid to speak the truth when it comes to your standards. If the connection feels average, say it. Don't raise your voice. Don't explain endlessly. Say it calmly with clarity, and let the silence do the rest. If you understand this, write in the comments, "I demand depth." It's your reminder that you don't settle for average in love or in life. And keep listening, because once you learn to hold this kind of standard, the next step is about showing strength in the very moments when weakness is expected. That's when attraction transforms into respect. Number 7. I don't need you to be happy. Few sentences unsettle a woman more than hearing, "I don't need you to be happy." Not because it's cruel, but because it's rare. Most men signal through words, actions, or energy that their happiness depends on her. They beg for reassurance. They act restless when she's distant. They lose themselves the moment she pulls away. That dependence is predictable, and predictability kills attraction. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine calmly communicating that while her presence is welcome, your happiness isn't tied to her mood or her choices. That message is magnetic. It's not arrogance. It's not indifference. It's strength. Take David, a 54-year-old chiropractor from Texas. He was dating Melissa, 52, and she had a habit of pulling back when she wanted to test his commitment. Whenever she grew distant, David used to chase late-night calls, long messages, endless explanations. The more he chased, the less respect Melissa had for him. One day, when Melissa accused him of not caring enough, David surprised her. He said calmly, "I care, but I don't need you to be happy." Then he left it at that. The energy shifted instantly. Melissa expected begging. Instead, she saw strength. And that strength forced her to see David differently, not as a man scrambling for her attention, but as a man in control of his own center. This is what female psychology rarely admits: dependence feels heavy. When a man clings, it makes her want to push further away. But independence feels light. A man who can stand tall whether she stays or goes is a man she respects, and respect is the foundation of desire. Think about how this line plays out. A woman hints that she might leave. Most men rush to convince her otherwise. You instead calmly say, "I don't need you to be happy." No drama, no panic, just truth. And that truth lands harder than any speech because it shows you are free. This mindset aligns perfectly with Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." He didn't say it depends on a woman's approval. He didn't say it depends on someone else's affection. Happiness is internal. It's self-generated. When you live this, not just say it, women feel it. Another story makes this clear. Michael, a 59-year-old contractor from Ohio, had been married for years. His wife, Linda, 55, often tested him with threats of leaving during arguments. For decades, Michael reacted with fear, doing everything possible to keep her close. But as he grew older and embraced Stoic discipline, he shifted. One day, when Linda threw the same line at him, Michael calmly replied, "I want us, but I don't need you to be happy." That was the moment their dynamic changed. Linda stopped threatening because the fear was gone. Here's the reality: no woman respects a man who lives in fear of losing her. But every woman notices the man who stays grounded in his own joy, no matter what happens. So the next time you feel the urge to prove yourself, pause. Remember, her presence can add to your life, but it cannot define your happiness. Say it calmly. Say it once. I don't need you to be happy. And then carry yourself like it's the truth. If you feel this, write in the comments, I own happiness. It's a reminder that no one else holds the keys to your peace. And keep listening, because once you learn to detach your happiness from her approval, the next move is about how to handle her words when they cut deep without losing control. That's where real mastery shows. Number 8. I agree, and that changes everything. Most men make the same mistake when a woman criticizes them. They defend, they argue, they launch into long speeches to prove her wrong. And every word, every excuse drains their power. That's why a simple, calm response like I agree flips the entire game. It takes the heat out of her test, and it leaves her with nothing to fight against. Think about it. When she says, "You're selfish," most men panic. "No, I'm not. I did this for you. I always think about you." But when you look at her and calmly say, "I agree," the script collapses. She expected resistance. She got none. And without resistance, her test dissolves. This doesn't mean you actually believe every criticism. It means you understand the psychology of tests. Tests only have power if you push back. By agreeing calmly, you remove the fuel. It's like trying to start a fire without oxygen. Nothing burns. The Stoics understood this approach well. Epictetus taught, if someone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone." That's the spirit of I agree. Instead of defending you, own it. You reveal calm strength. You show that her words cannot shake your identity. This is why it changes everything. Most men are trapped in approval seeking. They think if they can just argue well enough, she'll respect them. But respect isn't earned through explanations, it's earned through composure. When you calmly agree, you show her that you don't fear her judgment. And fearlessness is magnetic. Imagine her trying to spark conflict. You never do enough. Instead of defending, you say, "You're right." Silence follows. She doesn't know where to go next. The test falls flat. And in that silence, she feels your strength. Not loud, not aggressive, but steady. This isn't about being passive. It's not about rolling over or admitting defeat. It's about showing that you won't play the game on her terms. You won't get dragged into endless back and forth arguments. You stay grounded, calm, and immovable. That's what unsettles her because it's rare. Seneca once wrote, "A wise man is content with himself." Agreement comes from that contentment. You don't need to be seen as perfect. You don't need constant validation. You know who you are, and that's enough. When she throws words at you, you don't scramble to defend you. Smile, you nod, and you let the storm pass. Here's the truth. Women respect men who cannot be rattled. By agreeing calmly, you're not losing ground, you're gaining it. You turn her test into proof of your composure. And in that moment, you stand out from every man who falls into the trap of defending. So remember this, the next time she criticizes, don't defend, don't argue, don't explain. Say it once calmly, "I agree." And then stay silent. Watch how fast the energy shifts. If you understand this, write in the comments, "I stay calm." It's a reminder that no argument can shake your frame. And keep watching, because once you learn to agree without losing yourself, the next step is about mastering silence itself, the tool that speaks louder than any words. Number 9. I'm unshaken even by silence. One of the hardest tests a woman can give a man is silence. She ignores your calls, delays her replies, and acts like you don't exist. Most men crumble under that pressure. They panic, double text, leave long voicemails, and beg for her attention. But here's the truth. Silence is only powerful if you let it shake you. Now imagine standing tall in the face of that silence. Imagine calmly saying, "I'm unshaken even by silence." Those words aren't for her, they're for you. They're a declaration that her withdrawal does not control your emotional state. Take John, a 56-year-old real estate broker from Chicago. He was dating Karen, 53, and when conflicts came up, Karen would often go silent for days. John used to react by flooding her inbox with apologies and desperate attempts to reconnect. But all that did was reinforce Karen's control. One day, John shifted. When Karen went silent, he didn't chase. He carried on with his work, his gym sessions, and his life. When she finally reached out expecting an argument, John calmly said, "I'm not shaken by silence." Karen was stunned. The game no longer worked. Here's why this is powerful. Female psychology often uses silence as a test. It's not always conscious, but it's effective because men fear being ignored. The man who panics shows dependence. The man who stays calm shows strength. That contrast makes all the difference. Think about Sarah, 51, who was seeing David, 55, in California. Sarah tested him with cold silences, expecting him to chase every time. And at first he did. But when David finally stopped reacting, when he calmly continued with his life and refused to be rattled, Sarah's perspective changed. She started wondering, why isn't he chasing? What's different about him? That curiosity pulled her back. Silence is supposed to trap you, but when you remain unshaken, you turn the trap into proof of your composure. You send the message that your worth isn't tied to her replies, and your peace isn't negotiable. That's rare, and rarity is magnetic. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." A woman's silence is an outside event. You can't control it, but you can control how you respond. And when you choose calm over panic, you pass one of the hardest tests she can give. So remember this: don't fear silence, don't chase it, don't fight it. Stand steady, breathe, live your life as if nothing has changed. And when you say, "I'm unshaken, even by silence," make sure your actions match your words. If this speaks to you, leave a comment, "I stay steady." It's your reminder that silence cannot break you. And keep watching, because once you learn how to master silence, the final step is about embodying the kind of man who lingers in her memory long after the words are gone. Number 10. The man who needs less wins more. Here's a paradox. Most men never realize the less you need, the more you gain. In relationships, this principle separates men who are forgotten from men who are remembered. Women instinctively sense when a man is dependent, when his world collapses without her validation. That dependence feels heavy, and heavy energy pushes her away. But the man who needs less, who is whole within himself, creates the opposite effect. He becomes rare. His presence feels lighter, his confidence feels unshakable, and his energy becomes magnetic. Why? Because he is not driven by need, he is driven by choice. And choice is power. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Think about that. A man with everything can still be weak if he is desperate for validation, but a man with little can still be rich if he is content in himself. The same truth applies here. The less you need from her, the stronger you appear in her eyes. Consider what this looks like in practice. A needy man texts, constantly fills silence with chatter, and tries to buy her attention with effort. A man who needs less respects space, invests in his own pursuits, and lets her feel the weight of his absence. One drains attraction, the other fuels it. This doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you shut down emotionally. It means your happiness, your peace, and your purpose are not dependent on her. She can add to your life, but she doesn't complete it. And that distinction makes all the difference. Female psychology responds to strength, and true strength is independence. When she senses that you need less, she feels more desire to give. When she knows you can live without her, she wants to stay. That's the paradox. That's the power. So remember, the man who needs less wins more, because he is free. And freedom is the ultimate attraction. If you understand this, write in the comments, "I need less." It's your declaration that your strength comes from within, not from someone else's approval. You've just learned the truth about the words every woman fears hearing from a man. We covered why pointing out her predictability strips away control, why calmly opening the door gives you power, why refusing to chase flips the script, and how stillness, indifference, and self-mastery create a presence that can't be ignored. At the heart of all of this is one lesson: you win when you need less. When your happiness, your peace, and your strength come from within, you can't be shaken. That's what makes you unforgettable. Not louder words, not harder chasing, but calm independence. If you want to take this deeper, now is the time to join as a channel member. Inside, you'll find exclusive lessons and advanced Stoic strategies I don't share publicly. Tools that help you not only in relationships, but in every part of your life as a man. And of course, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss tomorrow's video, and trust me, you'll want to see what's coming next. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Stay strong, stay grounded, and I'll see you tomorrow.